Have you ever, broken up with a news source?
Oh, yeah.
I don't mean the big dramatic kind of breakup where they publish something completely wrong and you just, I don't know, delete the app in a rage.
No, you're talking about the slow fade.
The slow fade, exactly. The vibe shift.
That moment where your finger just sort of hovers over the unsubscribe button. And it's not about the money, it's something else.
Yes. It feels like the whole relationship has changed. You suddenly realize, wait a minute, I'm not being informed here. I'm being, what's the word? Handled.
Handled is a great word for it, and that's actually the perfect starting point for this deep dive.
It is. We're looking at a really fascinating article by Johan Steyn. It's called The Eroding Foundation of Online News Trust.
And it's important to say who Steyn is.
Right.
He's not just some random disgruntled reader.
Right. He's a prominent thought leader in artificial intelligence, an author. He looks at systems, how information flows.
So when he talks about his decision to unsubscribe from a major news platform, in this case it was News24, he's looking at it with this very specific technological lens.
He's not just seeing a bad article, he's seeing a system error.
A system error, exactly.
And that's really our mission today. This isn't about bashing one outlet. Steyn's story is the case study. We're going to use it to unpack what he calls the trust recession.
We'll get into the economics of it all, the algorithms, and this huge question of how AI is, well, an accelerant to this whole fire.
So let's start with the inciting incident. Steyn hits unsubscribe.
About a month ago, yeah. And he makes it really clear this wasn't for attention. No big I'm leaving announcement. He just quietly opted out.
And he also says, which I think is key, she isn't calling them fake news. He's not saying they never produce anything good.
No, if he did that, we could just dismiss it as another polarized opinion. But his point is much more subtle.
It is. He said he felt less like a reader being informed and more like a citizen being...
The nudge. Let's pause on that. In behavioral economics, a nudge is usually a good thing, right? Putting fruit at eye level in a cafeteria.
Yeah, to help you make a better choice. But here it feels different. A little manipulative.
In the context of news, a nudge implies the goal isn't just to give you the facts. The goal is to steer you, to get you to a specific conclusion.
And Steyn said he noticed it in a few ways. He talks about a tone of certainty.
Yes. And a speed of judgment.
I think we've all felt that. You click a headline and the article just feels like it's yelling at you.
Yeah.
It's not presenting evidence, it's delivering a verdict.
It's like, here's the hero, here's the villain, case closed, all the ambiguity is gone.
And Steyn argues that's what did it for him, this shift from humility and evidence towards, just volume and persuasion.
He felt the narrative was becoming more important than the actual messy facts on the ground.
So the million-dollar question then is this just bad journalism?
Mm-hmm.
Or is something else going on?
Well, that's where he zooms out to the structural trap. He doesn't really blame the individual writers. He blames the system they're forced to operate in.
The attention economy.
Right, it's a buzzword, but let's actually break it down. News used to be scheduled. The morning paper, the 7 o'clock bulletin.
You waited for it.
You waited for it. Now it lives these infinite feeds fighting for your eyeballs against a cat video, a work email.
So attention becomes the currency.
It's the only currency that matters. And the market, the algorithm, it rewards content that grabs you instantly.
And what grabs us? Certainty, emotion, outrage.
Exactly. So if a journalist takes 3 days to carefully verify a story, and the conclusion is, well, it's complicated, that piece is an economic failure.
A failure compared to the hot take that came out 5 minutes after the event happened.
So nuance and verification are actually, economically disadvantaged. It's a depressing thought.
It really is.
And Steyn actually points to a Reuters report from November 2025 to back this up. It was about how global platforms, think Google and Meta, now sit between the publisher and you, the audience.
They're the gatekeepers.
Total gatekeepers. And because they control the traffic and the revenue, they end up shaping editorial behavior, whether they mean to or not. If you don't feed the algorithm what it wants,
you don't eat.
You don't eat.
Wow. Okay, so that's the economic pressure. But Steyn raises another point that I found even more interesting. It's not just about money, it's about branding.
The authority trap.
Yeah, he calls it the referee problem.
I love that analogy. If you're a player on the field, you can make a mistake. But if you're the referee,
you have to be perfect, or at least try to be. If you miss a huge call, people don't just get mad. They start to question the whole game.
Exactly. So when a publication brands itself as the ultimate arbiter of truth versus disinformation, it sets an incredibly high bar for itself.
A bar they can't always meet.
And Steyn brings the receipts here. He cites two specific examples from August 2025 involving News24.
Okay, let's walk through them because the details are important. First up was the Ackerland story.
Right. So this involved a finding by the Press Council's press ombud. They found serious breaches in a piece from, ironically, the News24 disinformation desk.
The name itself, disinformation desk, that's setting yourself up as a referee.
That's the brand promise.
Yeah.
But the ombud found their fact check of this Ackerland expropriation story had omitted material context. They actually had to apologize.
So the very unit designed to fight disinformation was found to have, well, sort of misinformed by leaving stuff out.
It's a huge blow to that brand promise. It's like the fire department accidentally setting a fire.
What was the second example?
The second was the clarification and apology regarding Ronaldo Gauss, also in August 2025.
I remember that story. What was the specific journalistic issue there?
News24 had to acknowledge that their earlier framing of his comments was incorrect, specifically around his statements on the K-word and killing.
So they didn't misquote him directly, but they interpreted what she said, presented that interpretation as fact, and then had to walk it back.
Yes. They essentially had to say, the way we framed this was wrong. Now, Steyn is careful here. He's not saying this proves some grand conspiracy.
Right. He's not saying they're evil.
No, but he is saying that these are perfect illustrations of why trust crumbles. When the referee strips context or gets the framing wrong to make a stronger point, the audience starts to wonder.
They start asking, if you got this wrong, what else are you getting wrong?
Or worse, are you even trying to inform me anymore, or are you just trying to manipulate me?
And that question leads us to the most, I think, chilling part of Steyn's article, the idea of the engineering of consent.
It's a heavy phrase. It has roots in early propaganda theory. But Steyn argues that in the digital age, it's much quieter. It's not a guy in a smoky room planning things.
So how does it work then?
It works through repetition, through selective emphasis, through framing. It's about constantly presenting as a certain worldview until it just feels like common sense.
He has a great line. He says it quietly narrows what feels sayable in public.
That's it. It's not that you'll be arrested for saying the wrong thing. It's that the social cost becomes so high because the narrative has already been set.
The acceptable range of debate just gets smaller and smaller.
And when readers sense that engineering is happening, their instinct is to disconnect, to hit unsubscribe. Because they realize the goal isn't information anymore. It's compliance.
Okay, so we have the economics and we have the editorial framing. But you mentioned at the top, Steyn is an AI guy.
He is, and he sees AI as the great accelerant for all of this. It's about to pour gasoline on the fire.
How so? Because I hear a lot about how AI can help journalism.
And it can. He acknowledges that.
Yeah.
It's great for transcription, summarizing documents, automating workflows. It can free up reporters to do actual digging.
There's a big but coming.
There's a huge but. Used without proper governance, AI just scales all the bad behaviors we've been talking about.
It makes it easier to be fast instead of right.
Infinitely easier. An AI can generate an article with that tone of certainty in 2 seconds. It can strip nuance faster and more efficiently than any human ever could.
And there was a report on this, right?
Yeah, he cites a Thomson Reuters Foundation report from December 2025. They looked at AI adoption in South African newsrooms.
And what did they find?
The warning was pretty stark. Without strong policies and training, AI can introduce bias and factual errors at a massive scale. And when you combine that with the economic pressure,
You get a machine that's designed to pump out biased, unverified content faster than any human can possibly check it.
that's the nightmare scenario. And Steyn worries about the institutional reaction to all this. As audiences fragment, news organizations tend to double down on their authority.
So instead of being more transparent, they just shout louder, "We are the truth."
Exactly. They shout louder instead of showing their work. And he points to a Daily Maverick article from early January 2026 that basically said journalism can only be saved if it confronts the incentives that are undermining it.
You have to change the game, not just play the old one harder.
You can't just keep hitting the same broken button.
It really feels like we're at a crossroads. We have this technology for infinite information, but we are starving for credibility.
That is the core paradox. More information, less trust. Which brings us back to why Steyn unsubscribed in the first place.
Right.
His conclusion is that trust isn't a slogan you can just slap on a banner.
Trusted news.
Right. It doesn't work. Trust is a practice.
A practice. Like a discipline.
Exactly. It's built on boring stuff. Clear sourcing, visible, prominent corrections, and the hardest one of all, humility about what you don't know.
Being willing to just say, we don't know yet.
Which, as we've established, is the most economically punishing thing a news outlet can do right now.
But it might be the only thing that saves them in the long run.
Steyn argues it's the only sustainable advantage left. In a world of algorithmic noise and AI-generated text, the only safe harbor for a reader is credibility that's been earned the hard way.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? You can't just unsubscribe from everything.
No, of course not. But it means being conscious, being an active consumer, not a passive one. Steyn's final question in the piece is really the one we should all be asking ourselves.
What is it?
In this age of automated output and invisibly steered attention.
Who is informing the public and who is engineering it?
That's the one. Every time you open a feed. Am I being informed or am I being engineered?
That is a genuinely unsettling question, but a necessary one. It definitely makes you look at your own subscriptions in a whole new light.
It does. It pushes you to find the sources that show their work, the ones that treat you like an adult who can handle complexity.
Well, that is a lot to think about. From one unsubscribe click to the entire future of media.
Just a typical deep dive.
It is. So for everyone listening, take a look at your own feeds this week. Ask yourself that question. Are you being informed or engineered? Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you on the next one.